Being surrounded by people and still feeling lonely can be a complex and painful experience. Often, this happens when we are unable to emotionally connect with the people around us, or when we feel that we cannot share our thoughts, feelings, and concerns with them. It is possible to feel lonely in a crowd, especially if we feel misunderstood or socially isolated. This feeling of disconnection can be exacerbated when we are going through personal difficulties, such as health issues, family, or financial problems. It is important to remember that loneliness is not necessarily caused by a lack of company, but rather by a lack of meaningful emotional connection with the people around us. Loneliness is a common human experience that can be triggered by various factors. Some of the reasons we may feel lonely include a lack of emotional connection with others, a lack of social activities we enjoy, significant life changes such as job or residence changes, the end of a relationship, the loss of a loved one, among others. Additionally, loneliness can be exacerbated by factors such as depression, anxiety, stress, and mental health problems. It is important to remember that loneliness is not a weakness or a personal defect, but rather an experience that can affect anyone at some point in their life. A short story to illustrate the theme about loneliness. Long ago, in a small village, lived a lonely old man named João. He lived in a small wooden house, away from the town center, and spent his days alone, without friends or family around. João used to sit on his porch every afternoon, watching people pass by his house. He saw happy couples, friends laughing together, and families walking hand in hand, but he never took part in those scenes. He felt invisible, as if nobody noticed his presence. One night, while João was having dinner alone, he heard a noise coming from the front door. He got up to see what it was and found a wounded dog lying on his porch. The animal was hungry, thirsty, and seemed to have been abandoned. João decided to take care of the dog and give him a place to stay. He named him Bob, and they quickly became inseparable companions. Bob accompanied João in all his daily activities, and João finally had someone to talk to and share his life with. With Bob by his side, João began to feel less lonely. He started to leave the house more, going for walks in the park with his new friend, and even began to talk to other residents of the city. He realized that although Bob couldn't speak, he was still a source of love and companionship. Over time, João realized that loneliness is not necessarily a permanent condition. Even in his later years, he found true friendship and learned that emotional connection can be found in unexpected places. Loneliness is one of the most painful emotions a human being can experience. Although we often associate loneliness with lack of company, this feeling can occur even when we are surrounded by people. Imagine the following scene: a young person in a bar surrounded by friends, laughing and chatting animatedly. However, despite all the commotion around him, he feels extremely lonely. He can't truly connect with the people there and feels that no one understands him. This is an example of how it's possible to be surrounded by people and feel lonely. But why does this happen? The answer may lie in the quality of our interpersonal relationships. Often, we have many superficial contacts but few deep and meaningful connections. Our relationships are based on banal conversations about the weather or work, but we rarely talk about our fears, insecurities, and dreams. In addition, we live in an increasingly individualistic and competitive society, where personal success is often more valued than collective well-being. This can lead to a sense of disconnection and isolation, even when we are surrounded by people. It's important to recognize that loneliness is not a personal weakness or failure, but rather a common human feeling that can be overcome. One way to deal with loneliness is to seek deeper and more meaningful relationships, where we can share our fears, insecurities, and dreams. It's also important to practice empathy and compassion, trying to understand and help others in their own struggles and challenges. In addition, seeking activities that provide us with pleasure and personal fulfillment can help us feel more connected to ourselves and to others. Loneliness can be a difficult emotion to deal with, but it's important to remember that there is always hope of overcoming it. Seek deeper and more meaningful connections, practice empathy and compassion, and find activities that bring happiness and personal fulfillment. Life is much more beautiful when shared with those we love. Loneliness is a common feeling that can affect anyone at some point in their life. It arises when we feel disconnected from others, when we feel we have no one to support us, or when we feel misunderstood. Loneliness can be caused by various factors such as lack of close friends or family, life changes like divorce or moving to a new city, the loss of a loved one, lack of social skills or confidence, among others. Moreover, loneliness can also be a result of our modern society where people often connect more through electronic devices than in person. This can lead to a lack of connection and human contact, which is essential for a happy and healthy life. Loneliness can have negative effects on mental and physical health. It can lead to depression, anxiety, sleep problems, increased risk of cardiovascular disease, among others. Therefore, it is important to take care of our emotional health and seek help if we feel lonely for an extended period of time. When it comes to dealing with loneliness on a deeper level, it's often necessary to look within ourselves and understand the reasons behind these feelings. Loneliness can be caused by different factors, such as lack of social connection, past traumas, self-esteem issues, among others. In these cases, seeking help from a professional, such as a therapist or psychologist, to work through these issues more deeply can be helpful. Additionally, it's important to practice self-compassion and self-acceptance, recognizing that we all go through moments of loneliness and that it doesn't make us any less valuable or worthy of love and connection. It's also important to seek ways to connect with others in authentic and meaningful ways, seeking relationships that allow us to be ourselves and add to our journey of life. Connecting with others through hobbies, interest groups, volunteer work, or other social activities is important. It's also important to develop social skills, such as effective communication, active listening, and empathy. This may take time and effort, but it's a valuable investment in our mental health and emotional well-being. To overcome loneliness, in summary, loneliness is a common feeling and can be caused by various factors, including lack of human connection in modern society. It's important to take care of our emotional health and seek help if we feel lonely for a prolonged period of time. I'm glad to have helped provide helpful information and ideas on how to deal with loneliness and find meaningful emotional connections. I hope these tips can be helpful to those who are going through a difficult time and seeking support. Remember that there are always resources and options available to help you overcome loneliness and find healthy ways to connect with others. Thank you for spending this time with me. See you soon.